Hello everyone, this is an episode that I've been dying to make for ages and I am so glad it's finally here. This is the episode where my seat problems are resolved because I now have a new pair of seats for the Evora. Just in case you're new to the channel, I'm going to give you a very quick rundown on the situation so far and how we got to this point. If you know all this stuff already, skip about 2 minutes along. So, when Lotus built the Evora 400, they wanted to do a few things, namely save a bit of cost in production and also save a lot of weight out of the car. So they switched from the Recaro seats that were used in the Series 1 Evora to the Sparco seats that everyone knows in the 400. Unfortunately, there were a few issues with that Sparco seat. Chiefly, they were not particularly rigid, they moved a fair bit, and they also made quite a bit of noise, especially when cornering. Now, I had this problem from basically day one, and Lotus did eventually come up with a fix for the seat, which involves basically adding extra bracing things into the seat base. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, my seats, the fix just never worked. We tried multiple times to solve it. My driver's seat continues to make noise in the corners, and my passenger seat basically makes a noise all of the time. So they decided that the only solution for my seat was going to be outright replacement. And I waited for that replacement to arrive, and I waited, and it never came. We then looked at possibly replacing the seats with Evora Sport 410 seats, which are a version of the seats used in the XC's Cup. Quite thin, quite narrow, really nice, really lightweight, very good looking seats, but made in-house by Lotus to a very, very high standard, but for whatever reason, we just could never get one of those either. And I basically went to JCT and said, look, you know, we need to sort this out because it's to be honest, it's distracting from the enjoyment of driving the car. You know, especially when a seat moves about a little bit, you know, you're in a sporty car and you don't want it kind of doing that thing too much. So we agreed that it needed sorting. So they asked me what I recommended that they do. I said to speak to the best guys that I know, which is Cobra. So they spoke to Cobra, and Cobra said that they happen to have a seat in mind, which would probably be perfect for what I want, which is to say a seat in a road car that is still very sporty and very supportive. And I also don't need a reclining seat because I don't put people in the back of the car. So all I need is enough access to put bags and things in the back, and that's it. So Cobra came back to JCT, JCT talked to Cobra, and JCT talked to me, and we agreed between us that we would basically start this mini project, which is developing a version of the Nagaro seat, which fits perfectly in the Evora 400. Fortunately, Cobra had recently been working on a version of this seat, which would fit very well in a McLaren, a 12C and a 650S in particular, which is going to be a better, sportier, lighter seat than the standard factory seat, and also considerably cheaper than the seats that McLaren put in their sports seat option, basically, which are phenomenally expensive. Very, very good, but definitely not cheap. So between the three of us, my car has been at Cobra this week. They built the seats to my specification, and they have test fit it and refit it and sorted it out and built the frames to order in my car, and basically we now have a pair of seats that fit in my 400 that are absolutely gorgeous. They do not creak, they do not flex any more than a seat has to, and they are just stunning. But enough of me, let's have a look at the seats because that's what you're here for. This is my existing Sparco seat. This is my old driver's seat. Now, they're a really, really good looking seat. This is a development of a seat that Sparco call the GPX. It is in fact used in one of the new Koenigsegg's, and I believe Ford are also using a version of it in the new GT. There is a significant difference between the version that Sparco are using and the version that Lotus are using, however, in that Sparco's own version has a carbon fibre back and Lotus's version is basically all GRP. In fact, one of the issues we've determined with this seat is that the base is also GRP as well. So it is not particularly strong under here. There is this brace added in here, which I believe could be something that got added in afterwards. There is a lot of stuff going on in here, and foam in it is kind of firm. It is a good looking seat. I love what Lotus has done. The trim department at Lotus are fantastic, very high quality people. My seat, as you guys are probably aware, was sprayed to match my car. The spray job was never brilliant. Now, you'll notice in the back of this seat that there are two kind of kidney portions here and here. These are where side airbags would go, and this is one reason that this seat was chosen for the 400, is that you can put side airbags in here, and this will meet all federal crash regulations, apparently. Now, in Europe, these portions are just empty, and I think this may be part of the problem, which is that when these are empty, things can kind of move about and make a little bit of a noise. It's hard to tell with the seat not in the car, but you can see there is quite a bit of flex in the back, and that is kind of the problem I had, because you could feel it and it was a little bit unsettling. So you can see with the Cobra seat, it is dramatically different, and this thing's going to fall on its bum. So this here is my new passenger seat. Now you can tell that it's a roughly similar shape, but there are of course a few major key differences I'll talk you through. To be honest, the first thing that you notice when you feel the thing, and something I can't really explain to you very well, is the quality of the leather. This is a full natural grain leather. This is really, really top quality stuff. It's really, really nice. The guys get it in. It is, I am told, from British cows. Not that I am some sort of bovine xenophobe, but when people have pride in where stuff comes from, I tend to find the quality is always very, very good. Something that is also nice about Cobra seats is that nearly their entire range, the pads are removable. So you can have these tailored to suit. Now in my car, I've actually had them made asymmetrically. My driver's seat pads are thinner than the ones in my passenger seat. That means I sit a touch lower in the car, you get a little bit more feel through your bum. I got plenty of padding on mine anyway, I don't need more. So it's great. And of course, if you want, you can swap them around. Now, there is lumbar support in here, and there is heating pads in here as well. So all of the functionality of the old seats is basically retained, with the exception of the recline feature. These are single piece seats. Now, of course, that makes a big difference because you get a huge amount more support in the side here. And you'll notice the wings on the seat come up ever so slightly higher, so they support your shoulders a little bit better, and you just sit in nicely. The thing that's really striking about this seat is, despite the fact that it is, you know, from looking at it, quite a racy type seat in comparison, it's actually extremely comfortable, much more comfortable than this seat. Now, showing you the back is really where the money goes, which is that this thing has a gorgeous, gorgeous carbon fiber back, and mine has been done in a gloss effect. It is really, really stunning work, and the guys here are right to be very, very proud of what they've done with these seats. And of course, being carbon fiber means that we've managed to do a Lotus owner's favorite thing, which is save a considerable amount of weight. So I'm not too fussed about saving much weight in the car, but it is of course always nice when you manage to. Now, these guys have weighed these seats for me. The Sparko, they tell me, is actually, for what it is, a very light seat. It is lighter than the Recaro equivalent. This weighs in, with the side runners still attached, not the full base, but the side runners, at 14.1 kilograms. The Cobra, carbon fiber, 6.4 kilos. So, when you consider that we're obviously replacing a pair of seats, you're looking at a 15 kilo saving. For my friends across the pond, you're talking about something like over 30 pounds. Okay, that's not an insignificant saving. This is now my impromptu conclusion to today's episode. The seats have now been in my car for a week, and they are fantastic. Just want to show you what they look like in the vehicle. I think they blend in quite well. I am going to try and add some more yellow to the cabin to try and get back a bit of that lift that I had thanks to the painted backs on the old seats. I want to also show you the feature I was talking about with the foam, so you can see the difference between my two seats, and something that I think is absolutely critical to my enjoyment of this particular seat. Now this seat, the sides on it are not too tall. It's developed from a racing seat and they've sculpted it so that it fits and works easily. You can get in and out of this car nice and easily, just as easily, if not easier, than you could before. Now you'll notice the foam on the seat over here. Look where this goes, up here. Compare it to this here. This whole area is exposed for thigh support. That is because on the passenger seat there is a piece of foam that is like this. Okay. But what I'm currently using on the driver's seat is this. So it's a single piece of foam, ultra thin, but the seat is actually really, really comfy and it works quite well. I also have the choice of whether I want the heating element still in or not. So that's in the back, and I have now taken out my rear seat, so the car is technically a 2+0, but the whole thing is reversible if you want it to be. So I want to finish by saying thank you to JCT600 and to Cobra for their help in finding this solution for me. And if you want to buy a pair of these seats, please speak to JCT, or of course speak to Cobra if you're interested in having something sized up for a different car. I am super happy with them. With the thick cushion in, they are lots more comfortable than the old Sparcos. With my thin cushion in, they are much more supportive, really fun, really racy, and they totally change the dynamic of the car. There's a couple of unintended consequences. You just feel like there's a lot more road in front of you. It just feels a lighter and airier place because you're not quite so high. Clearance is much, much better. If you're trying to wear a helmet, 10 times easier with the thin cushion in. And also you can actually even see out the back better because you sit a little bit lower, so the angle for the rearview mirror is better. So it's basically all positive. So thanks again, guys. Hope you liked this video, and thanks to those of you for staying with Seatgate, and hopefully this is the end of it. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.